Hello and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros. You're an incredible human being. And today on Wisdom Wednesday, we're going to talk about something a little bit different. Different in terms of the types of videos that I make, but not different in terms of the way that I live or what I do. So let me be clear, this video is not for everybody because not everybody is available at this time to receive this information, and that's okay, right? Some people might start listening to it and you're like, oh my God, higher self, collective consciousness, I'm out. And that's okay, right? I'm like, listen, you have to do what's right for you. So I wanted to start by sharing this little story on how I got to this this moment, right? So I was editing a video for something else that I'm doing, another project that I'm working on. And I was editing this video and I wasn't really paying attention to where I was cutting out the statements that I thought were just like redundant, right? I know, I talk a lot. So I wanted to cut out these parts of the video. And in doing so, I should have written down like the times that the statement started and ended that I thought were redundant and wanted to remove. But I just kind of listened to it and then just guessed. And I'm like, this feels good. And I just cut in these two spaces and then spliced the video together, started from the top and played it over. And when I played it, the statement that I heard myself make made me want to throw up because it's something I would never say, because it's something that I don't believe in. I'm like, whoa, Maria, you watch your mouth. And here's the crazy part. I cut it and I was trying to compress the video and I cut it by accident. I created this beautifully clean cut where you could not tell that it was a cut, that it was like a sound edit bite, right? A sound bite edited. And it scared me because I went, oh my gosh, I did this by accident. And there are people who legitimately do this for a living. Like they make money getting paid to alter what people are saying and doing on video and to make it look so clean that us, the audience, cannot tell the difference that it has been altered or edited. Are you hearing me right now? Okay, let me back up. I showed the clip to my daughter and she was like, Mom! And I'm like, I didn't say that. Let me play the original. So when I played the original, she's like, oh my gosh, was that an edit? I'm like, yes, that was a mistake of an edit. Like I did that by accident. People do this on purpose. And she's like, oh my God, this hurts my head. I know, honey boo, because we are watching things unfold on social media and on the news. And I don't watch the news anyways, because it's just not healthy. I haven't watched it in I don't know, a long time. I'm going to say 10 years I haven't watched the news. And because I recognize that it's edited. But when this happened to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, how easy is this for people who are trained professionals and they do this all the time. And they're flooding social media and the news with all this stuff that is really creating a tear in our humanity, right? And that's when I took a deep breath and the realization that came upon me from my higher self was, you cannot trust your eyes, so trust your greater vision. You cannot trust your ears, so trust your inner voice. And it was like, okay, I know what my greater vision is. I know the problems that are happening, right? I'm this color and I look like this in America. I don't need to see it on the news to know that it's real. I have siblings who are much darker than me and identify as Black in this country, and I know. I don't have to see it on the news. I don't have to watch it on social media. Like, I know what's real, right? Now, in terms of the back and forth that's happening in politics and in the media and in the world and the current civil rights movement, I don't need to see it with my eyes, because the truth is that we might be being fooled. There's more fake news on the news and on social media than there is real stuff that's happening. So because we cannot trust what we are seeing and hearing that is being delivered to us from other people, we must be connected to the higher self, right? Or what some people call the Holy Spirit, or what some people call their intuition, or what some people call their inner being, whatever you want to call it. We must be connected to that more powerful collected self, right? In order to keep a vision of what it is that we want and working towards and are moving towards ourselves first and foremost, and then in the work that we're doing to create that, and be able to hear our inner voice, our own peace. And so for anybody who doesn't really know how to do that, I know that I'm going to probably get a couple of videos, so I wanted to give a couple of pointers that says, how do I do that? How do I connect to this higher self? How do I connect to this true self, the authentic self, the inner being, the more powerful voice, right? How do I connect to higher consciousness? Okay, glad you asked. There's a couple of things you can do. The first and the most important is that you have to start paying attention. Awareness is the portal by which we make discoveries, have realizations, allow ourselves to grow. If you learn all this information, not just here, but in life in general, and then you don't pay attention to opportunities to use it, you're not, honing your awareness, then it feels like, I learned that for nothing. I don't even use it. But there's opportunities happening all the time for us to be able to use and access these different opportunities, again, to utilize all these opportunities for growth. So the first and most important thing is awareness, right? And then I'm going to give you a couple of different things that you can try. The second for me is meditation and deep breathing. So when I go into meditation, it's where I, learned how to calm myself down, because if you know me, you know I'm very high energy. And it was a really peaceful space that I could not have to be this road runner all the time. And the really beautiful part about meditation is that the more I practice and the more that I was able to just kind of let go and be in that moment, I found that when I came out of it with greater clarity. I came out of it with faster solutions came to me. I came out of it feeling more creative, feeling more energetic, feeling more alive. So I would recommend a meditation practice if that's something that interests you. And, making sure that that's coupled with focusing on your breath. Because a lot of times people will say, well, I'm supposed to sit there and clear my mind. That's not really real. The mind's going to do what it does. And we have to give it something to focus on. And sometimes it's a sound in the background, and sometimes it's just our breathing. And for me personally, it's the deep breathing that really works. The next one is journaling and relaxation activities. Things that you can do to help you just kind of soothe yourself and calm down. And a lot of times with journaling, it's a good way to get ourselves there's two things about journaling. The first is that a lot of times if we have a lot happening and then being able to dump it onto a page feels really good and right? Put it over there. And sometimes we find ourselves journaling and then we write things that we're like, this is genius. Where's this coming from? It's coming from the higher self. So when we allow ourselves to be almost like a vessel for this, it can flow through us and we write these really brilliant things. And we can give ourselves some clarity and some solutions again in those spaces of journaling, if that's what works for you. The next one that I have here is through your physical body, dance, movement, exercise, going for walks. A lot of times when we have pent up stress in our body, it's like a block that almost limits whether or not how we connect to the higher self, to the collective, to the Holy Spirit. So taking care of our bodies and taking care of our bodies, meaning in movement, paying attention to where there's pain, accessing those issues, dealing with our stuff, and then being sure that we're recognizing that the body is temporary. The spirit is not, right? So, and that's not to say don't worry about it because it's temporary. It's actually quite the opposite. You have to take care of it because it is the vessel by which you live this higher self, and by which you express your creativity, and by which you enjoy life. So we have to take care of the body. And a lot of times people will say, sometimes I start exercising and I feel like I'm not even here. I feel like that's like a transcending. I find that a lot when I'm dancing, just kind of freestyling around my house. I'll just be gone. I'll go someplace else, right? And it really feels like a space of, and isn't that what everybody wants a lot more of anyways? Another one is affirmations and mantras, repeating an affirmation or a list of affirmations for yourself, or having one mantra, and just kind of giving yourself a small time frame just to start. Sometimes it's just 1 minute that I would recommend, and just sitting for a minute, taking a lot of deep breaths and going, I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. And then you start to say it in such a way that you become it, and then you believe it, and then you're like, whoa, I am enough. And the higher self is like, there we go. I've been telling you that since you were born. And you knew when you were younger, but then life and programming and other people's stuff got in your way and you forgot, welcome back. And then I would love to say that you do it one time, and then it's like, whoo, magic wand, it's done. That's not real. You have to keep going back to those spaces and back to those mantras and back to those remembrances, right? In order to stay connected to those things. The next thing is creative activities, doing things that make you feel alive and passionate. For some people, it's writing poetry. For some people, it's drawing or coloring. Anything creative that you kind of lose time and space in the process of doing the thing. I do have a friend that she loves doing graphic arts and design, and sometimes she'll be on there making stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh, 3 hours went away. How did that happen? Don't beat yourself up. I mean, unless you missed work, right? Or like you forgot to feed your child. But definitely looking for and participating in activities, and I recommend this on a daily basis, that just let you escape. And when you're in that space of ease, right, that space of light, that is when you know that you are aligned with your higher self. And from those places, you have this vision of equality for every human on the planet. You have this, well, that's my vision. I have a vision of equality for every human on the planet, and I know that my work is rooted in love. And I know that in order for me to be rooted in love, I need to be connected to the higher self, which is love. And so for me, it's this constant going back to this higher self. I don't need you to tell me what you think or don't think. I know I have a knowing because of my connection. And it wasn't always like this. I did not always have a knowing. The last thing that I want to say, the seventh thing that I'm going to give you for connecting to your higher self, is acknowledging and moving towards peace. This kind of inner peace that you know before you talk yourself out of it, before you get too logical, before you start thinking about everything else and all the reasons it could go wrong. The peace that you feel. Oftentimes people make a decision and they feel an ease come over them. And then because they're not used to the peace, they're not used to that connection and that alignment with the higher self, they start to panic and they say, oh, it can't be this easy. Okay, so this, and this finances, and then they freak out, right? I know you do, because I used to do it all the time. And I watch my clients do it when we first get started. And then afterwards, they're like, literally one of my clients the other day, she said, well, it felt like peace. So I just did it. And then it worked out so well. And it was just easy. I didn't know things could be like this. Yes, honey. Things can be like this. But we have to start paying attention. We have to be aware. We have to be aligned in order to allow the peace to come over us, right? And when you feel that peace come over you, don't fight it. Don't argue with it. Don't try to talk against it. Don't try to create logistics as to why it can't happen. Trust the peace. Move in the direction of the peace. Oprah Winfrey once said, and I love this, I use it all the time, the peace is both your guide and your reward. Because isn't that what we want? A life of peace and happiness and health and joy? Yes, yes, and yes. So when you can't trust what's happening around you, when you can't trust what people are putting in front of you, in front of your eyes, or telling your ears, what you can trust is your greater vision for a world filled with love and equality. And then you do the work first and foremost to move in that direction, and then decide what work you're going to do to also help propel that vision. And the other thing is to listen to your inner being, because if your inner being, your inner peace, your inner voice is aligned with love, you're going to hear, right, and make healthier decisions for yourself, regardless of the chaos that's happening around you. It's a lot, I know, but we had to talk about it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who can benefit from it, this is real life. I know it started running. If you know someone who can benefit from it, please share it. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions about any of this, holla at your girl. I'm here for you, okay? I want to help us all connect with and move up to those next levels of living so that we can truly find spaces of peace and health and happiness, because we are already deserving and worthy. Period. That, my friend, is super sparkly everything. I care about you. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, peace.